Mark's got
All
books.
right.
He's too big for 2 Comma Club awards now.
Well, I used to have them on the wall and stuff, but then I replaced it with Bitcoin. So
There we go. Yeah, that's when you start making more in Bitcoin.
I
When you've
converted my money from the 2 Comma Club and all the other awards and stuff into Bitcoin, and now Bitcoin will be my, my big thing.
Yep. So here's my quick intro on Mark, and then Mark, you can fill in the details I missed. Mark's an absolute G, marketing master. He went from basically growing his own personal brand to teaching others how to do the same and just being overall good at business. He publishes brands much like we do, some of the biggest internet marketing launches of all time. He is the
I was behind the big Hermosi launch. No, I'm kidding.
big Hermosi launch. Yeah, no, exactly. You heard it here first, guys. No, but big ones like, can I say names like Tyson,
yeah.
Paul, or okay, sweet.
That's fine. Yeah.
Mike Tyson, Jake Paul, Dan Bilzerian,
Floyd
Mayweather. So like, he is the guy that, most people actually know Mark at this point. They don't know me as well. But when we go up there at those award shows, like I said, I was trying to get that picture that you and Mike got. And I was like, I don't know if we got as many. We had 13 up there, but you guys, I think, still had more. So we'll see.
A lot. Yeah, it was a lot of awards. But I don't. Yeah. I don't care as much about those awards anymore. They're cool. I look at like a couple of them as like memorabilia pieces, like like a trophy that you got from something, more so than like, and I don't have as many of them here at my house. So that's why it's like I would either go all in and have like all my walls covered like you're gonna do. But instead I just have a couple of my memorabilia pieces, and like other team members have them, because it's hard to get multiple awards. They usually don't want to give really they don't want to give like 3 of the same award to you and then your business partner and then your other business partner. It's like Correct. It's hard. So it's like every time you get one, you have to be like, can I get a second one and a third one and a fourth one? Because this team member and this partner and that, and it's just like, God, for every award like that.
Yeah, we did. We went through that this time, and they wanted proof for all of them, of which like took forever. I had to export my whole entire ClickFunnels account, which broke it. So yeah. So problems that most people don't have, but I agree. I went through the reverse version of that, Mark, where I was like, no, I'm never going up there for like the normal like 2 Comma, the 7-figure. I'm like, I'm not going to be status class with all these other people. And then 3 years later, Amy was there for the first one. She's like, you should really do it. And I was like, you know what? All right, sweet. I'll post the photo. I know it'll be good for me.
There you go.
But yeah, regardless, dude, thank you for coming on. Yeah, we cross paths every once in a while. And I know that guys, the secret, we'll drop Mark's Bitcoin course below in the chat if you ever release one. You guys should invest in it.
Luckily, it's free. There is no Bitcoin course.
You do have one. Okay, I didn't even know that.
I don't have one.
Yeah, he's doing the same.
I'm always talking about it. The course is easy. Go buy it, and then hold it for 5 to 10 years and be very happy. That's pretty much it.
See, that's the type of investment strategy. When we talked about it, I was like, bro, okay, cool, sweet. That's all I want to know. Like, don't tell me anything more complicated than that.
That's it.
Because if I have to learn about like swing trading crypto or anything like that, I'm out and I don't have enough time.
That's it. So, and if you just buy it and hold it every 5 years, it usually 10x's. So I bought it 5 years ago and I'm up 12x.
Cool. And then
that gets pretty exciting when you're talking about millions of dollars,
So for everyone watching this who's like a Bitcoin like novice like me, is the chief reason because it's a finite resource and it's hit a tipping point where it has utility, or what?
Basically, all the risk has been taken out of it between government regulation and approval, the new SEC regulations, the new FASB accounting regulations, the BlackRock ETF and all the other ETFs. Bitcoin has officially been stamped, sealed, and approved by the biggest government in the world and the biggest money institutions in the world. So there's the regulation approval. So the whole, what if the government bans it? That's already gone. We already crossed that. The government's not banning it. They already approved it. It's too late. They're not going to ban it. So then the second thing is, now that you got the risk and the regulation handled, the only thing is it's digital gold. Gold's a 22 trillion market cap, 10 times larger than Bitcoin, which would put Bitcoin over $1 million a coin. And Bitcoin is digital gold. To simplify a metaphor, I think there's better metaphors out there, but for most people, this is the easier one. If it's better than gold, and gold is 10 times larger, we're just waiting for Bitcoin to pass gold. And when it passes gold, it'll go to $2 million a coin, $3 million a coin, $4 million a coin, $5 million a coin. And that's where people will say, oh my God, $100,000 Bitcoin was actually early and cheap. And so that's where we are now. I got a lot at 9,000, 10,000, 11,000, and I sold my company and I put millions in at 25,000, and now we're at 124,000. We're going to go to $1 million. We're going to go to 10 million.
What's worst case scenario for where it tops out? Like, I know the high is super high, right? Like even more so.
Like in the next, like this year?
Let's just say in the next 5 years.
Next 5 years, conservatively, keeping in mind that we already hit $124,000. I think worst case scenario, 5 years from now, we're sitting around 500,000 to $1 million.
Holy crap. That's a great worst case scenario.
That's worst case scenario. We would be at about $500,000. Bitcoin's averaged a 60% CAGR, which is compounded annual growth rate, for the last 6-7 years. So there's all these models out there where you can basically say, if it keeps compounding at a 60% CAGR, we'll be here. If it goes to a 50% CAGR here, 40% CAGR here, 30% CAGR here, 20% CAGR here.
Worry about all of that, because then
exactly, it's pointless.
The emotional swings of it not hitting or hitting. I just want to be like, dollar cost average BTC.
That's it. Done. That's it. You got to, first, what I would say is, if you're in a financial position that I know you probably are, I would smash buy one full coin if you don't have a full coin.
I like that.
Smash buy a full coin. Smash buy. You just fucking all in, baby. Dollar cost averages. I'm dripping. That's dollar cost average. Smash buy is $113,427 is the price of Bitcoin right now. Smash buy. That's the whole. I bought one Bitcoin for $113,000. Done. Smash buy.
That's right. I like smash buy because then it's not as cool to say I own 0.812 Bitcoins.
Right.
Yeah.
So if you're in the position I think you are, you could probably afford to smash buy a full coin. And then I'd go dollar cost average, because there's 80 million millionaires in the world, and there's only 21 million Bitcoin, of which 5 million are lost forever because people had them on their hard drives back when it was a penny and lost them. So there's 5 million projected Bitcoin that have lost forever. So of the 21 million, there's really only 16. So there's 80 million millionaires, and there's like 1,500 billionaires.
Wild to think
and
about.
Everybody cannot have a full coin. So you want to hurry up and get to a full coin, because at some point, and Michael Saylor by himself owns 635,000. The ETFs own 1.6 million. I own a lot. I'm not selling because I don't need to sell, because once the price gets really high, JP Morgan and all these other companies, by the way, they already do. They'll give me a loan against my Bitcoin, like a loan against real estate. So I never need to sell. People say, when do I sell? When it's at $1 million, will you sell? No, because when it's at a fucking $1 million, I'm almost a billionaire. And then all I have to do is call up somebody and say, I have $950 million in Bitcoin. Will you give me a $100 million loan against it as collateral? Yes, of course. I'll give you an 8% or a 12% loan.
Yeah,
and then I get $100 million in cash. I spend the $100 million in cash over the next 15 years, like a degen. And in 15 years, Bitcoin triples, quadruples, 5Xs. That grew faster than the 7% interest on my loan. Ta-da! That's what rich people do. They never sell. That's why 80% of every asset in the fucking world is owned by 1% of the people. 80% of all the stuff is owned by 1% of the people, because those people never need to sell. Therefore, it never changes hands. They only keep accumulating, which is why 99% of everything will be owned by 1% of people. That's why the saying from Davos and all these other people like Larry Fink and Charles Schwab, they say you will own nothing and you will be happy, because 99% of everything will be owned by 1% of the rich people. And so I'm choosing to be the 1% who owns everything. So my family's taken care of. And that's why poor people, things go up, they sell, and then they never buy back in. And here's the worst part. You got taxed on the money you earned. You got taxed on the thing you bought, taxed on the thing you sold. You get taxed to death. So the only way to get rich is to live below your means, invest your capital in core assets like Bitcoin or Apple stock or NVIDIA stock or pristine real estate. But those are a little bit more difficult, like pristine real estate. So we'll go back to like great stocks, but picking great stocks is hard. And even if you buy the Mag 7, you're only going to go up 20 or 30% a year. Bitcoin goes up at 60% a year. And it's more finite. It's not relying on regulations and products and cycles. People are saying Apple's going to go away. Maybe, we'll see.
Cool.
You know?
Yeah, right.
So you never have to sell. You never have to sell. You take a tax-free loan against your Bitcoin, and then you live off the tax-free money. It's tax-free, dude. That's how Jeff Bezos buys a $500 million yacht. He doesn't sell his stock. He just takes a loan against it for free.
Okay. So I'm never going to sell. I'm just going to use it as collateral and leverage to fund future endeavors.
Done. And then if you want, you can take a loan against it. And this is where Pace Morby got excited and he started buying real estate. Sorry, Bitcoin. You take a loan against your Bitcoin and then you buy real estate that cash flows the cash to pay off the interest on the loan. So now I got $100 million in real estate. I'm sorry, in Bitcoin. I take a 20% loan, $20 million. I take $20 million. I go buy $60 million in real estate. Because of 33% down payment. I take the $60 million in real estate. It cash flows great monthly cash flow that pays off the $20 million loan in the Bitcoin. Now I end up paying off the loan with the real estate. The real estate I own outright and the Bitcoin I own outright. I did it all with free money. That's how rich people get richer.
Dang. Have you and Pace done a pod together or like a training? I feel like
set it up.
You need to speak this up.
Yeah, set it up.
Sweet. I'll do that as a note.
Pace will always text me questions about Bitcoin. I'm about to buy more. Should I buy now or should I wait? He'll always text me.
You've told me I told myself I was like, all right, I can't get on here and just talk about Bitcoin with Mark for an hour because that's what's gonna happen if I don't ask him publishing questions.
Yeah.
But I'm gonna start doing that. Team, put in there like if this video gets a million likes, no, that would be hard. 100 likes, I'll buy Bitcoin for the first time and take Mark up on that offer. So
yeah, brother.
I don't know if that threshold's good. I'm still figuring out this like YouTube organic thing. But dude, thank you for coming on. What's your focus right now? What's your number one thing?
So publishing company right now, we're shifting away from celebrity personal brands because of a variety of reasons I can get into. First and foremost, ego, lawyers, all of that. They're not as committed. I always use Pace as an example and say he's the unicorn publishing personal brand. When I'm teaching people publishing, I'm like, I always mention you guys and Pace and how you guys have done such a great job. And I go, that's who you're looking for, is a guy who's so committed and his heart is really in it. That's very hard to find. As you guys know, Pace always says that's his unique thing that makes him special from everybody, is nobody's got that secret Pace sauce where he'll go and sit outside of a Taco Bell for 6 hours with 100 people or 500 people. Grant Cardone won't do that. Tony Robbins won't do that. Dean Graziosi won't do that. I don't think Hormozi's ever done that or will do it, at least not every freaking week like Pace. So I got out of the personal brand celebrity influencer publishing and I shifted, and it's still amazing, by the way. It's still ripe for the pickings. The problem is I was going for the top, the guys who already have nine figure net worths and 100 million plus followers. The ego's bigger, the lawyers are bigger, the hurdles are bigger, the negotiations and contracts are bigger. So when you come down and you go to like the person on YouTube with 1 million followers who makes 100 grand a year, dude, that person should be making 500 grand a year, 1 million a year. You should publish that person. So that's what I teach. But for me, I've shifted over and I'm doing publishing for billion-dollar corporations, wealth management firms, law firms. And that's really where I think the bread and butter is they're not doing any digital, any funnels, any of that stuff. And so that's
smart.
That's where I'm focused now, is doing billion-dollar corporations where a lot of their stuff comes from like word of mouth and old school marketing, but no funnels, no retargeting, no paid ads, no nurturing, no content, no newsletter. And you
like an genius
and they're already a billion-dollar company. So you think, oh, could I add 20% to this billion-dollar company? And what would 20% be? $200 million. And could I get 10% of that? $20 million. And so all of a sudden you're like, that works a lot better. Mm-hmm. And we come in and we do it for free. So, no cost, no upfront. And we can come in and basically be what for them would be like a $5 million division. If they had to pay salaries and hire and train and manage, it would cost them $5 million for our division to come in. We do it for free and we just get a percentage of the upside. So it's very hard to say no to. We have a track record. Yeah.
I'm going to be like, Mark tells me the things that like, and then I have to find and learn my lesson the hard way. He's like, don't do celebrities. Then I'm like, bro, worked with a celebrity. It went exactly what you told me. It was
exactly.
It made a ton of money the first day. And then everything like,
yes,
went sideways. And it took 5 years to publish them because of all the red tape. So,
right. And we both know the effort and energy that goes into that quick spike of revenue is never where the riches are made. The riches are made in the Pace Morby 20-year career where I'm building on top of my build and my stack and it's the compound effect. They say the eighth wonder of the world is the compound interest. It's the compound effect. And if I can just do $2 million in a day and then forever after that, the project goes to zero, that wasn't worth it. And in the beginning of your career, that's exciting. But later in your career, you realize I'm a high paid hooker. I only get paid when I go to the streets. But if I ever want to stay home, I don't make any money. And so I got to go out on the streets, and I go out on the streets and I make a lot of money. But what if I'm sick? What if I want to go on vacation? What if I have children and I want to raise a family now? Like you and me are family men. Like I can't go on the streets and dance and travel, and I want to be home. I want to see my kid's soccer game. And so at some point you realize I need a team, I need some compounding interest, and I need something that long-term I'll look back and be like, wow, this really paid off. I did this for 5 years and we were able to sell it,
Yeah, that's hilarious. Yeah, I went from a highly paid hook writer to a highly paid hooker. That's the difference. That's like when you go as a copywriter to a publishing model, that is kind of the semblance. But thankfully, you find someone like a Pace Morby, and he was, if we're talking about like 1 in a million type person as far as level of commitment.
Right.
I'm curious how you gauge commitment these days, because everyone told me they would want, like at the beginning, everyone told me the same thing. Pace would be like, I'll work the hardest like anyone's ever worked. I'll do whatever.
Right,
and then see the actual commitment or the lifestyle becomes appealing. And they're like, actually.
Yeah, that's the problem is it's always a gamble. And we could get into, everything in life's a gamble. Okay, yeah, but like those are bigger gambles, right? Like anything besides Bitcoin. Bitcoin is the closest thing to certainty. All the other cryptos are more of a gamble. I call them venture capital. I love venture capital because I'm a degenerate gambler and I love high risk, high reward. But when it comes to 90% of my net worth, and I have a wife and a kid, 90% of my net worth, Bitcoin. It's the most certain thing you could bet on. I haven't been wrong yet. And this is what I always try to tell people. If I'm right, I should say this, if I continue to be right, because I've already made tens of millions of dollars of Bitcoin, if I continue to be right, I'm going to make hundreds of millions, and then eventually in 15, 20 years, billions. And I'll be a billionaire, and people will be like, oh, you got lucky. Okay, well, I've been preaching for 20 years to go fucking buy it.
That's what's going to happen for you and for Pace. You guys both started, both of you guys are going to be richer than me because of compounding. You started earlier. Like Pace has like a portfolio that most people find either like incredibly like crazy for his age, or incredibly like hard, like the anxiety because of the amount of leverage that you're using for that capital. But I was like, like someone like Pace, he's just wired. He's going to be a multi-billionaire or broke. Like you could say that if like all this real estate crashes, it's unlikely to because it's real estate, but you could make that argument.
And right? my full circle cherry on top for this point is, if Pace is right, he's a billionaire in the future. If I'm right, I'm a billionaire in the future. If we are both wrong, we do the same thing as the fuckers listening to us. I'm sorry, you can beep it out. We do the same thing as the people listening. You're going to work forever.
Yeah.
So if 100%. I'm right, my family generation's set for life. If I'm wrong, I'm going to be just like most of the people listening to this and work till I'm 70. So it's like.
That doesn't sound so bad.
It doesn't sound so bad because I already retired for 6 months when I sold one of my companies, and it was boring because I looked around and nobody else was retired. And so you're like, retirement. And by the way, I'm not a golfer, so I'm not like out on the golf course. And if I was, nobody's retired. And if they were, they're probably 70-year-olds, and I'm 35. So I'm half their age. Retirement is actually not fun. I think the future for a lot of wealthy people is micro retirements. You take 6 months off like I did. You find yourself or your passion or your next business venture, you rejuvenate, you focus on self-love, self-care, and then you get back in the game. And then you do the next thing for 5 years, go crush it. Hopefully you have another exit. One of my mentors said every 5 to 10 years, you should hit a grand slam, either in business or in an investment.
A great thought.
Every 5 to 10 years, you should hit a grand slam in your company, which means an exit or a merger or something exciting with a liquidity event. And or you should have one of your investments hit a grand slam. Now, the good news is every 5 years, Bitcoin usually goes up 10x. There's my grand slam every 5 years. Now, in the last 5 years, I did sell one of my companies.
You're tracking in parallel. Like you have active income and passive income at the same time.
I'm trying to have a grand slam with investments every 5 years and a grand slam in business every 5 years, 2 at the same time. Because the investment is passive, sort of. I just put the money there. I don't have to do anything.
For sure.
I spend time getting educated just so that my conviction is there, so that I don't want, because otherwise I really would be lucky. If you ask me about Bitcoin and I'm like,
does it ruin your day if it knows that, even though you know it's going to go up?
Right now I'm down 7 figures because Bitcoin was at 124,000 and it's at 113,000.
Yeah.
So I'm down. I'm down 7 figures. But here's the thing: most of my cost basis is between 10,000 and 26,000. So I'm not down at all. I'm up a blended average of 800%.
That's the reframe I would have to do on myself, and just like I'm not going to log in or even look at the news.
The way to look at it is like Elon Musk, Jeff Bezos, Mark Zuckerberg. Their net worth fluctuates billions every week, every day. So they're down $1 billion today in net worth, but they're worth 50 billion. Shut the fuck up. So it's like I'm down 7 figures, but I'm fine. Nothing in my life is affected negatively. So you just kind of eventually get numb to it, and you realize that's the game. Sometimes I'm up, sometimes I'm down, but when you zoom out, Are you still super rich? Yes. So I don't care if I'm down $10 million, $100 million. I must be super rich to have the privilege to be down 10 million and have my life not change, to be down 100 million and my life not change.
Exactly. It's a footnote.
Right. Dude, so I'm down 7 figures in the last 7 days as the crypto market and most things are down from 124 to 113. But like, I've done this before. I've ridden this pony a million times. Like, I've been in the crypto space since 2017, but really heavy since 2020. I mean, I rode this 70, 80% crashes. Those suck. Those are the ones where you're like, whew, that tests you, being down 80%. But now I've done it enough. So it's just part of the game. And again, that's what scares most people out is when you zoom out, you're still tremendously up. Everybody I told when Bitcoin went to 69,000 and crashed to 16, I said, buy. And the people who listened and then held got a 800% up from 16,000 to 124,000. So you're only down if you sell and you get out of the game.
That's what I was saying. You only fail if you quit, right? So exactly. if you're in my shoes right now, I'll tell you a little bit about where we're at business wise, because I want to get to one of those micro retirement periods. Like we've grinded now with this company New Reach. We have, besides Pace, 11 info brands, 5+ SaaS. And the original idea was to roll it up and for it to be one nice ed tech multiple that we could sell.
Too difficult.
That's difficult for me. Or maybe just not even, there's no
here's, and let me just jump in right there just so everybody listening can learn the big lesson. So I thought the same thing. And as I got my company acquired to a private equity firm, I learned a lot. And on that journey of learning a lot and speed dating lots of other private equity, venture capitalists, strategic buyers, what I learned was there's an astronomical amount of people who will buy companies between 3 million, 5 million, and 10 million. But once you go up to 20, 30, 50, 100 million valuation exit value, bro, the amount of people who can afford to buy you is like tiny. But dude, I could go find my next door neighbor. They could take out an SBA loan from the bank and buy me for under 5 million. SBA loans usually cap around 5 mil. So my freaking neighbor who knows nothing can go to the bank, show my bank financials of the company they want to acquire. Because by the way, this is how crazy an SBA loan is. They take your business that's going to be acquired to the bank and say, look at this company. It does, I'm making up numbers, $1 million in EBITDA and 2.5 million in revenue. Yep. Will you, Mr. Banker, give me $5 million to buy this business that does 2.5 million in revenue, 1 million in EBITDA? And the bank goes, yep, I will. And then you draft up the paperwork. The bank gives an escrow account with a lawyer, the $5 million. And then that person, you, went and got $5 million from the bank with my bank financials of the company you're buying. And then they gave me the $5 million and I got $5 million and you own my business now, all based on my financials, nothing else. You didn't need to have proof of concept, proof of record. So now anybody with a $3 to $5 million company could just go get a buyer with an SBA loan from a bank. No private equity, no venture capital, no background, no strategicness. That's it. You have a basic data room, a company with about $1 million in EBITDA. Doesn't need to, by the way. You can go buy a $200,000 company with an SBA loan, but a $5 million threshold is the SBA loan. So your job, and how fast could you and me throw together with your distribution channels, your strategic marketers, your media buyers, Pace Morby's distribution and brand equity aligned as a strategic JV to blow up a company that you acquired, which is what I told you, and I'm going to bring this full circle. How fast could you and me stir up a 3 million revenue company with $1 million in EBITDA? Probably in a week.
Probably in a week, bro.
Probably in 1 week.
1 week. And that it'd be like 1 day of promo if we lined up.
1 day promo from Pace, from all your distribution, from social, from paid ads, from retargeting to your season pixels. Okay. You and I could do 3 million in revenue and 1 million in EBITDA, or probably 1.5 million in EBITDA. And we could go immediately and sell that company for 5 to 6 million net cash. Wham!
Immediately. That's the thing that I'm missing. Because
and here's the best part. You got to keep that money you just made on the launch and then sell the company for 6 million or 5 million, which means you really just made like $7 million in a week. How many times would you want to do that?
So every single time. I have one question here, and maybe this is just a false belief I have. We did that with our software. So like, we're not really software developers. We find technical co-founders and launch them into our info brand. And, you know, basically the adoption is really good and the retention is really good because of belief in the brand, right? Where you don't have to be this ace UI UX, like genius CTO in order to come out. Like we made some really ugly apps with great product use case and retention. However, we cap out, like, none of our SaaS brands, I don't think, do anything more than, let's call it 3 million ARR at the most. Most of them sit between 20K to 100K MRR. It would be the sweet spot.
Depending on the profit, those companies are valued, if it's 3 million annual recurring revenue, those
25 to 50% profit margins on
okay, so then, yeah, so pretty classic, standard, ideal SaaS. Obviously, higher the better, but that's very common. 25 to 50% is like right on the money.
Yep.
You're looking at like a 3 million annual, let's just say best case scenario, 3 million annual revenue, 50% is EBITDA or net profits. 1.5, you're looking at 7 million to 9 million valuation.
Higher than I would think. Maybe I need to explore that.
Well, there's two different types of valuations. There's venture capital valuations, which is like, well, this company could be the next blah, blah, blah. Okay, right. You're going to get a higher valuation, but you're going to have way less people. And you're going to have way less people that want that, and they're going to probably force you to go on a ride with them for 2 to 3 years as an earnout. So they'll value at 18 million, but they're only going to give you 6 up front. So you're like, I got 6 up front, and the other 12 is dangling carrots. Or they just say, you're valued at 7, bro, and I'll give you 7 for the whole thing, and you're out. I'm gonna kick you out after 6 months.
I would take that. I know, like, the leverage.
Yes, because you take the 7 million, you put it on Bitcoin.
I take the 7 million, and then put it in Bitcoin, or you do it over. And I think if we launched enough of those type brands over and over again, it would actually probably compound better than the additional leverage you get or the additional EBITDA multiple that you would get by growing it further.
I sold my company for 5.2 million. The amount that I got in cash, I put on Bitcoin. It's now $25 million.
For sure in the gap. That's the one that I took an SBA loan out. I qualified, guys. If you heard what Mark said earlier, I qualified for an SBA loan and considered buying my personal brand.
Yes.
We can cut this out, but the only reason I didn't is because of the affiliate distribution that Mark had. I was like, I wonder if I buy this and insert myself, if all the affiliates just like Mark and they won't like me.
Right.
So, like,
there's always a gamble, right? Of course.
There's always a gamble.
And statistically, 80% of all M&A deals fail. So that's why I personally don't want to be on the M&A side. But if I had a competitive advantage, like a Pace Morby structure, where if he just blesses you, whoosha, you're going to make millions of dollars. Which means, and this is what I said to you guys, is there's 2 models. If I were to just super simplify this down, there's, I'm going to go build $100 million company and sell it, or $1 billion company and sell it. And that used to be me, ego driven. It was all ego driven. I want to show everybody how cool I am. And,
right about like $100 million launch.
Exactly. Yeah. $100 million models. Like, again, congrats. Hermosi's freaking killing it. On the other side, there's the almost guaranteed. How fast can I structure? Do I have the relational capital, the intellectual capital, and the financial capital to quickly churn out $3 to $5 million revenue companies and sell them? Bing, 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 bing. And by the way, it could be a $2 million revenue company and you sell it for 3.5. The point is, stay under the $10 million threshold, and ideally, for faster turnaround, $5 million acquisition cost threshold, because SBA loans qualify for $5 million. So if you go to 7, that person has to figure out how the hell they're going to get the extra $2 million. Is it their money? Is it another bank's money? Do they dangle it over you as a buyout, earnout with seller finance? So maybe you sell for $7 million and you take $5 million up front from the SBA, and then the $2 million is on a monthly distribution seller finance. So you could do that, but once you go above 5, it becomes more difficult, because everybody can go to get an SBA loan. If this is the best part, if your company's financials justify a $5 million value, SBA will write you the check every single time. All you have to do is go find a person who's confident they can take over the company and either maintain it or grow it. And if that's the case, I can go and sell a $5 million, which is why I sold my company at 5.2. I can go, and it was with an SBA loan. My company got sold.
That is for like the type of multiple that someone would normally command. Mark must have done an amazing job.
I got 3.3 times EBITDA. We were doing about 1.6 million in EBITDA. So I got 1.6 million in EBITDA, 3.3 times. You're looking at about 5.2. And there you go. So they put up a little bit of cash, because SBA wants you to put down like 10% to validate. So 5.2, they had to put up like $520,000. And then the SBA came in with the rest. And so, ta-da, there's the money. I got my 5.2 million. Rode off into the sunset, put it all on Bitcoin. Bitcoin went up a tremendous amount. Ta-da. Now I'm just trying to rinse and repeat this over and over and over, because you could do that all day, bro. And that's what you guys could do, is you guys could go out, you guys could find these little companies. And it sounds like you're already doing a version of this, but
I just need to know the next steps, like broker, like platform. I saw you listed on, I forget, it wasn't Microacquire, it was one of those though.
I got a guy. I can connect you with a guy. He has 6,000 buyers on his list, and you basically, get your small business. And by the way, you could be on both sides of the table. You could be on the distribution side on his newsletter. You could be one of the 6,000 buyers. So when he's pitching all these people's things, you're on the list, so you can see the deals in the sim rooms and the data rooms, and
that's what I want. Secret deal flow.
And then you buy that company, grow it, go right back to the same guy, and sell it back to his community.
Really good idea. If the deal flow is preferred, right? And
the deals,
off market. We talk about that in real estate all the time. The best deals are off market.
Exactly. So that's what I think you guys should be doing some version of, is like, you've already got the big Pace Morby brand, but let's be honest, nobody really is probably going to buy the Pace Morby brand because it's Pace. So they could buy his real estate, they could buy his SaaS, they could buy things underneath him that are not related to him technically. They're an offset of him, but they can't buy the Pace brand. Therefore, your core
we would find valuable. Like we internally value it way more than 5x EBITDA. Will we ever get 5x EBITDA?
No. So you should go out and every 90 days, or at least every year, if that's easier, you all should be churning out 2 to 4 to 5 of these little $5 million exits, which would be an extra $20 to $30 million net in your pocket at the end of the year. Not to mention the cash flow you got in the journey of growing these companies. You suck the cash out, and then you just sell the companies out there.
How involved, or is that an internal employee you hired to do that, or literally just a friend, strategic partner that helped you? Like, is my focus, like, I don't know if I have enough time to be going out there and making that my job is to shop these companies. Maybe, I don't know. I don't know what I don't know.
Yeah, you know what? Because you guys have such an epic community, I would lean on your community, and I would almost put together like a training. And you can pick my brain on this. Again, I'm not an expert, but I definitely have like the foundation.
Good at figuring things out, though.
And you could definitely reach out to your community and be like, we are looking to add this into our company to serve you guys at a higher level. And just like in real estate, if you find us a good deal, we'll compensate you. If you find us a business that fits these 17 criteria check marks, and you go out and you ask them and you find out their EBITDA and you find out their revenue and you find out their last 3 years of tax returns and you find out all this info, then we'll compensate you 5% of the acquisition cost, or a flat fee of 20 grand. Like, this is big money for most people.
All right. I'm making a note. We have a community like that. We have owners.
Exactly.
People want to buy. Yeah.
There you go. Cool. So now you guys just take your existing community, have them become your micro free grunts. And if they check the list of all the criteria you guys want to have, just like you would with real estate, a vetted deal is this. That's the same thing for the business. If you find a business that checks all these boxes, bring them to us. We'll pay you 20 grand.
Yep. And then we'll blow it up with distribution. We'll take all the extra value from the multiple ingredients into, and then how fast can you flip these businesses? Is there a capital gains?
Usually, if it's what I just told you, under $5 million exit price or acquisition cost, you're looking at a 90-day exit price, 90 days to sell.
And I thought too. That's
great. It could be 14 days if the right buyer sees it and goes, SBA done, because all they have to do is go to the SBA. If you have a beautiful sim room or data room, synonymous for very similar things, like it's data room. It's just all the stuff, the financials, the P&Ls, the bank statements, the tax returns.
Your template, I still have it. I think I'll just use that as a template.
And so, and they help you, by the way. The guy who's helping you buy or sell, big company, by the way. I don't want to mention their names, but big company. You would know the people if I said them. They've done thousands and thousands and thousands and thousands of buys and sells. And they even do multi-billion-dollar M&A deals. So they go all the way up the ladder. But I'm telling you, the sweet spot, 90 days, done, deals done, money's in your account, 90 days from posting the data room to getting $5 million in your bank account, 90 days. And so that's why I said you could do one of these every 90 days. You could have 9 acquisitions, and by the way, you guys could acquire these companies zero money out of pocket. So when I say for you guys to go acquire them, you're not acquiring jack. You're finding a small company like mine that I sold, and you guys would say, hey, Mark, it's cute. You're doing a couple million in revenue, 1.6 in profit. Fantastic.
I like saying it's cute. Yeah, that's good. We've done this before. It's cute.
Exactly. Yeah. That's cute. Nice. It was a nice lifestyle business for me. I'm making $1.6 million, sucking that out, and I could do anything I want. And I still have a publishing company and a software company. So I'm able to do whatever I want. That was my cute little side hustle, $1.6 million take home for daddy. And then I had my other businesses. And I sold that company for $5.2 million. Ta-da. So like the secret for you guys is you find a person like me and you're like, hey, that's cute. You're doing a couple $1 million. We'll take you to 10 million and we'll do it in 60 days, or we'll do it in a year. You know, don't bitch. I'll 4X your company or 3X your company in a year. I'll go, yes. And then you guys say, here's how it's going to work. we're going to take 50% of your company. There's going to be all these criteria clawbacks where we actually have none of your company if we don't perform. So don't worry, you're going to give us 50% right now today once we sign, but all of it can be taken from us if we don't perform. And here's what performing looks like. We hit this metric, we get 25% equity, locked in, vested. We get this metric, we get 30%. This metric, boom, 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 all the way up.
Yeah.
So on the way up, we're locking in 25%, 30%, 40%, 50%. And then we have that vested equity. Ta-da! You're fine with that because only once I've doubled your company did I get 30 or 40% of it. And then by the way, if I 100x your company, I only maximum can get 50% or 51%. And then here's what I always do though. You have to put clauses in there that say, once we hit this level of locked in vested equity, or once we hit this
accelerated vesting,
we get to guarantee the company can be sold. You lose all your voting rights on the exit. So I always put a clause in there because otherwise they could bitch out and be like, I don't want to sell. I want to keep growing.
That's really smart. I should have done that with maybe some of our
exactly, because then they get greedy. We're growing so fast, keep growing, and you're like, no, bitch. The whole purpose was to sell now, and so
it's just like people have these warped expectations because of things other people tell them mainly.
Or they think they'll be the next Facebook, or they think they'll be the next thing, or they want to go to 50 million, but they don't realize you're never going to sell for 50 million. It's like go and open up a textbook and see how many people sold for 50 million. It's like 3 people a year, but how many people sold for 5 million? Thousands of people get SBA loans to buy shit.
Yeah, I can't wait. I'm already anticipating people be like, well, I want to follow the Hormozi model. So like, how do we get to 100 million in like less than 3 years? Like he did. I'm like, well,
and by the way, I'm not saying you won't get to 100 million. I'm saying that when you do, you probably will never sell.
No, you're not. Right. Like, I'm already there. Like I've already.
Yeah, exactly. You get to 100 million, but guess what? Nobody's going to buy you.
100%. Like who's buying David $300 million?
So what sucks is, this is what really sucks for people to wrap their head around. Now you just created a lifelong golden handcuff because your company's so big, nobody will buy it, but it's so big that you can't just turn it off because all your employees who count on you for their family will be like, what the fuck? You just fired me? You're shutting the company down? You're not even selling it? And so, and some of those people might have worked their whole life to get equity in your company, realizing it's never going to sell. So now you just created this Gordian knot that you can't untie where you can't sell it. You can't shut it down. So you're stuck in a company that at some point is going to burn you out. Or here's what always happens. Your children will take over and they'll crash and burn the whole company.
That's what's going to happen with, well, maybe not Ramsey. He's being pretty smart about it, but yeah, succession planning for info business sounds terrible.
It's terrible. It's terrible.
I can only imagine saddling my son. He's like, Dad, I don't want to run a $100 billion business with it.
Exactly. And you're like, but we've been doing this with Pace. He's 75 now. He's like Brian Tracy. Like,
and it's even harder. Like the CTRs are crappy. Like it's even harder to make money because he's less appealing and attractive than ever.
Right. Yeah. Right. So it's just like, 100%. It's like, I think the model is you go out, and this is for anybody, but really you guys are already there to pull this off better than truly anybody. The only person I think who could pull this off similar to you guys, and there's others out there, but like I'm thinking like Dean Graziosi at mastermind.com. And I told him the same thing, but again, too busy, too many things, too many politics.
The Brunson path, like he's parlaying into software. It seems like
Brunson already blew it too. He had $1 billion exit and turned it down, and he'll never get $1 billion offer ever again.
Talk to me a little bit about that. He seems like in really good spirits for having, had that on his plate. Like, I think the dude just loves.
Here's the best part. Yeah, but here's the part that doesn't make any sense. You could always negotiate mandatory that you get to stay on. So there was no point for him to turn that dollar down. He could have stayed on. Here's the worst part. I calculated it out. Had he taken the $1 billion in 2021 and then invested it into Bitcoin, he'd have $4 billion right now. He would have made $3 billion doing nothing.
If you told him that, I'm going, Russell, you should have 4 million in BTC right now.
He would have $4 billion liquid had he just taken the money, paid taxes, bought Bitcoin, held it for just 4 years. He'd have $4 billion. He could then buy ClickFunnels back, have billions left over because ClickFunnels crashed. So he could buy it back cheaper. This is what Ryan Blair did with his company, the weight loss company. He sold it for like $700 million. It crashed to 100 million. He then bought it back and then grew it to another billion and sold it again. So Russell Brunson could have just done that. But again, hindsight's 2020.
Russell, if you're watching this, I'm not even saying that I'm smarter than you. You should have done that. I'm sure there was other circumstances, but dang. Yeah. Like that.
Dang.
To me, like enough is enough. I don't suffer with the, like, it's never not enough. I got to be a billionaire. I need 10 billion. Like I'm already happy. I already find myself successful. We've talked about this before. So I'm chilling. I'm just trying to make sure that I don't get greedy when you look at growth curves and then extend them forever, or especially hockey stick ones. I just know better at this point.
And that's why this model is really good for you guys and for the right people listening. Is you can go out and you can find these small businesses. You can acquire 50% of them at no cost. I did this with my software company. I got 50%. I found a software company. I acquired 50% of it, no money out of pocket. I said I'd front all the costs moving forward. For the build up and the new legal and the new revamp. And then obviously things would come out of the company moving forward as operational expenses. But like the initial acquisition cost was I'll front everything for the due diligence, for the legal, for the rebrand, for the remarketing. And so, but that's another reason why I get 50%, you know? And guess what? Sure. Now I've grown the company. We're shy of an 8-figure valuation. We're shy of it. But I'm going to end up selling this thing and I'm going to end up making, it's going to be more of like right now, I think I could sell. So it kind of goes against my whole thing. By the way, we're looking into it, but we're looking at
things change.
Yeah. But I could just right now sell for like $7 million, but we're so close and our business model is a little different. We're focused more on enterprise clients. So like we get bigger clients. And so I only need like one more big client and we go to 9 million valuation. I get one more big client. We go to 11 or 12 million valuation. So like I need 2 more clients to go from 7 million to 12 million in valuation.
Where's the multiple top out at?
Well, ironically with SaaS, the multiple gets bigger, the bigger the revenue.
That's what I mean. But at a certain point, like no one's getting 120x.
But again, nobody wants to buy your company at that value. Right. So that's where the paradox of like, you know, you don't want to go too big because then nobody can afford to buy you. And by the way, here's the other worst part. The people who can afford to buy you, this is what they like to do. They play this game with you where they try to drag due diligence about 12 to 18 months out. So even when you start the cycle, exactly. So it's basically like a colonoscopy where they go up your asshole for 12 to 18 months. And in that period of time, if your company goes down at all, there's a market cycle shift, rates change, something, economic changes, war, your company goes down at all, they immediately pull out of the deal or they change the valuation at the last second and they go, instead of 50 million, we'll buy you for 36 because you guys actually have a downward trend in the last 90 days. And you're like, motherfucker, we've been doing this for 14 months. Only in the last 30 days are we going down.
We were just waiting. We actually paid for the BBB to look in.
Yes. So they force like a 12 to 18 month, because you're like, you want me to buy you for 100 mil? Yeah, I'm going to drag this due diligence out for 18 months. And in that period of time, if we catch anything wrong, you're done. We're going to pull out at the last. And by the way, at this point, you're $300,000 in legal fees, maybe more. And if they pull out, you're like, not only think about the manpower that has to go into doing this, your accounting team, your legal team, the founders, your advisors, your shareholders, your board of advisors, and then you're hundreds of thousands of dollars in, lots of manpower and stress is in, and then the company could just pull out at the last 24 hours. And so that's why, dude, I'm telling you, small, nimble acquisitions and exits, you'll be way richer, way faster, way smoother. And it's almost like, I don't know what the saying is, like a bunch of at-bats going to first base, second base, third base, fourth base, home run is way better than grand slams.
So that's where I'm at, and that's where my skill set's at. It's like I'm not at least not yet. Maybe I'll acquire that skill because I love to learn. Taking a business from eight to 9 figures multiple times, but I have a really good track record going from 0 to 8 figures. 5+ times.
That's why I said you and I can make 2 million to 3 million revenue, which is a 3 to 5 million valuation, exit price, enterprise value. You and I can do $2 to $3 million. Literally, we've done it in a day, more than that in a day. And so you're like, dude, it's unfair advantage. You and I could just do all of these little at-bats.
100%. And I don't get shiny object syndrome and I don't get bored. So I like playing the same game.
And you've also left the growth factor in there. Because to go from 3 million to 6 million is easy. To go from 60 million to 120 million, which is the same thing, it's a doubling, is way harder. And so
it's like I don't really have a playbook for it.
Right. So that's why for somebody to come in and be like, okay, I can grow this company from 3 million to 5 million, which is tremendous, but 30 million to 50 million, that's a lot harder. Like you guys, like I know Dean Graziosi's told me, he's like, we just can't seem to grow. We're stuck at this level. And I'm like, how many years? And he's like, 3 or 4 years. We've been stuck right here. We cannot get above it. And I'm like, that you're talking about Tony Robbins and Dean Graziosi, and they can't grow their revenue for 4 years.
For any info business. And that's why I think maybe I haven't shown you this, but we tracked the 20,000 different courses. And that's how I comp things of like, cool guys, don't just say like, or Mosey's my comp, your niche is gardening. Gardening tops out at 7 million a year. You're already at 5 to 7. Like tamper expectations unless you plan on being better than everyone who's ever done this. So like, the commitment to be the best in the world has to be there. And like, God bless, make it the ceilings 10 times higher than anybody's ever done. I don't want to play that game.
Yeah, like Pace does, from what I understand, 1 million little tiny deals that all add up to a big one, where Grant Cardone goes and buys a $300 million building. And so it's like different approach. Pace is doing lots of small deals, and so it's a lot easier to do.
In like 500 different areas. Yeah. And like his portfolio is bigger now. It was like after 5 years of just doing this as the accelerant, the info stuff, he had a $300 million real estate portfolio.
Which is crazy because everyone can copy what Pace is doing. To go to creative finance and get a small house or a small duplex or a fourplex, but you can't do what Grant Cardone's doing. You know what I mean?
Yeah, Cardone has much more downside risk. Pace would have to have like America fail as a country for his portfolio to be applied.
Right.
Yeah, and even then, if you insure against it, there's other like hedges. So, but yeah, dude, thank you for that. I love getting on with you because I'm just like, yeah, man, it's so simple. Why am I being dumb? Don't do like harder
stuff. It's
easy
to overcomplicate it and keep reaching and have these team meetings of how do we do a launch like Hormozi just did, and you're like,
I'll probably leave that. I'll be like, all right, guys, watch the video case study. I bought the 6K product. He explains it. It's a meta launch, so you guys can go through his own course if you want to know. For us, we got full focus because the marketing tactics. I don't know if you caught any of it this weekend. We're pretty straightforward.
It was straightforward. He didn't do anything where you're like, oh, well, that's why he's done the biggest launch ever. I'm like, no, he actually did pretty much all the same stuff that the top dogs do. The difference is
to reach this content, right?
That's it. Like, for 3 years, he never made a pitch, where Dean Graziosi and Tony Robbins do an every year, 4 times a year. 4 times a year, they do some version of a big launch. And so you're like, so in the time period that you did 16 launches, Hormozi did his very first one, and he sucked the same amount of revenue that you did out of 16 launches. Think about the effort and the energy that went into all 16 launches. He made the same amount of money in one launch. So you're like,
is actually more impressive to me, or they were smarter about the timing, because you buy all this goodwill with content, but then sometimes people forget. It's like me with consulting.com. I'm like, people don't remember me anymore. So I'm like, dang, I had this window where I could have probably launched anything I wanted and it would have been successful. And if you miss it, you can't call that relationship debt anymore because people just forgot. So he timed it well, I think, too, to get that. Did. Yeah, like Dean and Tony time it way better by being consistent every year.
This is a big one, and I hope at some point Dean and his team will implement this. I told Dean, and maybe there's a way for you guys to do something similar. I don't see the direct correlation, but nonetheless, I told Dean, I said, for your next launch, the biggest value proposition that you guys have over everybody else in the industry, and I think what would help you guys get a bunch of people back, would be that you have 150,000 students that are all coaches, course creators. You should do what's like, I don't have a term for it. You know how they always do like the Thrive Now Summit or whatever.
5 pound,
they always have a name.
So we've been the top affiliates for the last few years on it.
Exactly. So I don't know the name, but it's basically taking their launch, and like the last one they did was like, GG AI will build everything for you and talk like Tony and Dean and answer questions and build your funnels. And I was like, nah, I don't think that's what's going to help people, because again, there's 3 things that you need for a successful offer or success in business. You need a great offer, you need a great funnel to convert and nurture, and then you need great traffic that's consistent. The problem is you can give people the offer, just promote my offer. It's already the best offer. Okay. That's easy. I'll give you the proven templates and funnels and swipe copy, and it'll automatically convert them and follow up. Okay. Traffic. Nobody's ever solved traffic in this industry. Ever. No one has ever solved traffic.
For 100%.
No one has ever solved that in this industry. So here's the solution. Tony and Dean could not solve it, but could provide a stepping stone, a Band-Aid. Here's what it is. We have 150,000 coaches and course creators active. We've categorized all of them into their different verticals and niches. There's 10,000, 5,000, 6,000, 8,000, 3,000. Now, when you buy our program, it only teaches you how to structure your launch and get everybody in your vertical and niche to support your launch. Now you have 3,000 coaches that are going to help support your launch. And maybe only 75 out of 3,000 said yes. That's 75 people who might have super small audiences, but they're all going to promote your offer. You're going to do a lot better. And by the way, you only need to make $997, which is what our program costs. Do you think you could justify that? Let me bring Nick on. Hey, Nick, what's your offer? It's $500? Great.
My offer, financial coaching, I was just once like you too. And behind it, be right too, just like I went to 0 to 100K. You're never going to be Dean. Yeah, dude.
And by the way, there's 3,000 coaches in Nick's vertical. Let's say only 1% wanted to promote Nick. That's 30 out of 3,000. Okay, 30 people promote Nick. Let's say that only 5 people buy. 5 times $500 is $2,500. He only pays $997 for the course. He just made 2.5 times his money in the first week of joining our program with a launch. He could do a launch every 30 days.
Yep. Cool. Dude, I'm going to add on to this. Bonus 1. You get the top 5 people in every niche. I've already I went there and I got them to do this. I would never do this. They're going to be on your podcast. So
you're going to do bundle packages. You're going to take their course and roll it into the offer.
Bro, that's a super smart offer. Dean should do that.
And bro, everybody would be like, oh, I'm going to buy the program again because I got to be part of this.
Right. Because they have their moat. What you're alluding to is their moat is the fact that they have so many. They have the most coaches of anyone in the industry.
That's their only differentiator. They're not. I'm not going to say they're the best at this, the best at that. No, blah, blah, blah. You've already sold that for 17 years. The only thing you could come out and be like, I got a new trick. You've never seen the magician pull this out of the hat? Ta-da! Yep. Affiliate organization. We have the #1 affiliate community ever. By the way, you want to know where 80% of mastermind.com's revenue comes from? Affiliate launches. So guess what? We're going to actually have you guys do the way we make all of our money, affiliates. And that's why we curated 150,000 people to all be affiliates. Our whole training this year is the Affiliate Thrive Summit. We're going to teach you guys how to be affiliates for each other. And we have the biggest community of all.
And guess what? There's an emerging AI affiliate class if you want to sexy it up. But guys, that's why you hire Mark. Like that was freaking gold of an offer positioning statement that most people miss. And yeah, like the things with Dean and Tony is like, they're so good at the execution, much like Hormozy. They both excel at the execution of it so much that the big idea doesn't need to be that big. I'm used to having to have the best big idea in the room because I'm working with people with less than 5,000 on their social when they're starting. So it's like the offer position better be freaking differentiated and tight.
And really figure out the differentiation, right? They thought it was AI. Don't you dare tell me AI makes you different. Everybody and their grandma is using AI in their messaging. So AI does not make you different. Truly, what is the thing that makes them different? It's that. That is the only thing, if you really break it down. Like, let me say this. The only thing that's different and new, because sure, they have other things that are different, but what's the thing that's different and new that they haven't already done for the last 6 launches? That. And it also, more importantly, a way that makes the student go, I can't fail. I'll make 3 times my money in the first week. I'm in. Obviously, they'll say it in a compliant way. But nonetheless.
For something, bro. It's like, how many of you guys, like, how fast has your business grown since ChatGPT launched on December 8th? Oh, about the same as it was, or not at all? So, yeah, like, you've all implemented AI in your business, but it hasn't really driven any sort of bottom line.
Right.
That would be a great frame.
Exactly. And so I told this to Dean. I told this to his whole team. I even flew out there and sat down with them and talked about this and other things. And everyone was like, yeah. And then it never got implemented. So.
All right, sweet. We're 10 minutes away from the office. Sometimes I sit there, I'm like, Dean, freaking Mark Lack's like thing that he pitched you on next year. That'll be huge. Get all the affiliates.
I would love to see it because that's something that I, back in the day, would have been like, I'm in. That's what I want. Because what literally made me successful early on was I started looking around and I was like, all these guys just circle jerk each other with affiliate launches. I was like, I need to get in that space. I need to sit at that table and get circle jerked. So I was like, I'm in. And then I made tens of millions of dollars as an affiliate as I worked my way up through the mud. You know what I mean? Like, I won't promote you.
Right. Your friends are like, now I did this. We're similar. I'm like, yeah, I just need to be friends with like Evan, Jeff Walker, Dean, like all those guys. And
I just got to get on their top 10. So then they'll promote me back. And that was the game. I was like, okay, I just got to get on top 10. And then I figured out.
I'm so glad that game changed. I think paid media really opened up that, like, the falling apart.
And people building audiences like Hormozy just proved.
Correct.
Which was my thing. Build a personal brand. For 20 years, I said, build a personal brand, build a personal brand, build a personal brand.
Yeah, you started sooner than me. Now I'm regretting it. I'm starting this year. But
I slowed down a lot. I stepped off the gas pedal.
Yeah, right. And like, I did a consulting. I got burnt out because me and Sam were in the spotlight. Sam burnt out even harder. Like, I didn't get as much like that he did. But I was like, you know what? I'm done with teaching. I'm just going to, like, for 5 years, actually go do what I've just been teaching. And I think I had an ego about it of like, you know, like, because you've been a quote unquote business guru. When people are like, is he actually good at anything anymore? And for whatever reason, that got to me. It doesn't get to me anymore, but it did.
Yeah, I always just try to remind myself, like, I'm doing this to help one person out there, and that person will come back. And, you know, one of those people is this young guy named Josh Gavin, who you know.
Just talk to him. I love Josh. How did you find him?
Dude, he found me. I was at an event speaking on stage. This is like 8 years ago. I'm speaking on stage 8 years ago at an event in Vegas. His dad comes up to me and is like, "Oh my God, that was so good." And he's like, "You're like the youngest guy on stage," because 8 years ago I would have been like 27. I'm 35 now. And so I was like one of the youngest guys on the stage, and he's like, you got to meet my son. He's 16. And so I met his son, and we chopped it up. And I'm always trying to help young guys who are young people in general, because I'm like, you're the future, bro. Like, you're the future. And I would always try to tell other people that when I was coming up, like, yo, you're going to be old and washed out someday, like in a nice way, I'd say that. And I'd be like, I'm going to take over, and I'm going to be the guy like Hermosi at 35 doing these big launches. And you're going to come back and be like, shit, I should have been nice to that kid because now he's the big dog. And sure enough, guess what? I did it. I'm one of the big dogs. And so, and
our business prime right now, at some point, we're both going to fall off.
Exactly. Well, I'll get so rich that I'll stop trying, and then I'll be like, oh yeah, I don't even try anymore because I'm a billionaire and my passive income's $100 million a year. You know, I just get 10% on my billion and I make $100 million passively. So I don't even try. I don't sharpen my sword. I don't read. I don't do shit. I just focus on self-care, love, and family, things that matter, and peace. I'm already there. That's why I'm trying to chase. I'm trying to accumulate more of that peace and happiness and joy and self-care and self-love, because that's what matters. I already have enough money to do whatever I want. The rest of it's just for fun and for, you know, being able to, like, I want to be able to have nothing stop me from being like that right there. Fly private, international, $700,000, done. Not even a question. You know what I mean?
Peace of mind, basically.
And retire everyone in my family who wants to be retired. No questions, because I'm like, dude, there's no point for you to be working at 78, you know, or 65, because everyone's fucked. Universal basic income, AI, robotics, you're fucked. In 10 years, it's over. You're done. I don't think people realize it, dude. Like, this is where I spend.
Good way. It could be good. Like, we're all done.
It'll be good and bad, right? It's like everything. I think social media, super good. Also super bad. You know, the internet created the perfect way for sex trafficking for children. So terrible, right? Like, think about it. Like,
I've never thought about that, but
like, think about it. It's like a $400 billion a year industry. Tony Robbins always talks about it. It's like a $400 billion a year industry. And you know how most of it's run? On the internet. So the internet's like a terrible thing, but it's also the best thing. So I think AI and robotics will be that. It'll be the best and the worst.
It'll be worse. Yeah. I'm thinking of a world when people are like, yeah, man, universal basic income. No one has to work. We all just have money. I was like, man.
Yeah, but you don't understand psychologically how that fucks people. Like, every man becomes a soy boy. Yeah. Every man becomes a soy boy because they're like, I don't need to get into politics and pink haired people, but, you know, like, people start dyeing their hair and they get fat and they start to wait for the government to give them handouts, and they start shaming and wanting to hurt and threaten people who work hard for their stuff because they're rich. You don't deserve that. Yeah, you think you're better than me? And it's like, whoa, take it easy. I just actually work. You think you're waiting for the next stimmy check or universal basic income to hit, and then, by the way, you have to get a vaccine in order to get the check. So then they force you to get vaccinated to get the money. And that's how they do it. That's how they tighten the noose around your neck, is they go, I want you to get a shot, and you, in order to get the money that I'm dangling here, because you don't have any jobs. So if you want the free money, you have to take the free shot. And then it becomes this flywheel where it's like, now they can control you biologically with injections, and simultaneously psychologically through media, and then obviously physically through money and force. And by making you poor, they're physically forcing you into free areas to live. You can live here for free. So they're forcing you physically to live in an area that they built for free, forcing you to get vaccinated for free, forcing you to eat the food they do. Like, a fucking Bill Gates just figured out how to make fake salmon and fake meat. So now in the free house you live in, you'll get free fake meat, and you'll get free injections, and you'll get free products that poison you, and you'll literally just become a puppet. Meanwhile, the small select group of people who are sovereign and rich and educated and free will go out and they'll live wherever they want and do whatever they want, and there will be a small private island for those people. It's
two things here for you guys today. You can either take what Mark just said and just forget it and pretend that that's just going to not happen, or you can buy our joint AI era prep survival course that we're just dropping for $1,000 right now, which will teach you how to thrive in the era where Bill Gates and Elon Musk control everything.
That's right. That's right. It's going to be in the best way possible, bro. It's going to be so crazy that most people aren't prepared.
Do you think that people, let's just say Elon wins with Grok, and it basically gets to a point where universal basic income happens, life is easier than ever because of the wealth disparity, and because that would make him a trillionaire if that were to be executed on. Do you think that because of the perception gap, and this, like, psychology is still at play, people will just forget that their life is better and that this man helped them achieve a level of, like, stability and comfort that they've never had before?
Again, what you have to remember about the whole free money and everyone can do whatever they want, this is the part that everyone's missing. You're missing what I just said, which is, yes, if the government just gave you free money and let you do whatever you want, sure, to some degree, maybe that plays out like a fairy tale and we're all out in the gardens and we're all having a great time. The problem is there's always a stipulation to the free money. And that's where I said, you must live here. You must eat this. You can only spend the money on these things. It's called smart contract money. So they're going to use stable coins, no fiat money. It'll all be digital money. And then they can control how you spend it. They can see how you spend it. They can control how you spend it. They can make it so when you swipe your credit card or your digital phone, beep, oh, sorry, you can't buy that, Nick, because that money you're trying to spend on the alcohol is from the government and we don't want you spending it on alcohol. So now your money that they're giving you has all these stipulations. So
sovereign borders won't matter at all. It'll be all these decentralized, essentially sovereign countries created by billionaires that will exist that you can join. And
so that's what people don't understand is the free money always comes with a stipulation, and the governments that give you the free money are going to have their different stipulations. Like Europe might be like the worst place to get your money because they force you to get a vaccine every day, where America might only force you to get a vaccine every week. And so you're like, and they give you better fake meat versus Europe gives you only fake fish and we give you fake steak. And so you're like, the stipulations is the critical part that people don't understand. The government doesn't give you money without a stipulation. And that stipulation is already, dude, they gave you a fucking cheeseburger if you got a vaccine. Trust me. Remember that? Do you remember that? They said, if you get a vaccine, you could, oh, you didn't see that? You can go look it up.
With McDonald's or something?
Yeah, they gave you free cheeseburgers and French fries if you got a vaccine.
Missed that.
Oh, you can go look it up. So they tried to find incentives. They tried to find incentives.
That's a crazy incentive.
Or it was you can't get on an airplane, you can't get your job, you can't do that if you don't get vaccine. So the point is there always is a stipulation, and so the free money with the best, everyone lives for happily ever after. No, it's not going to happen. They're going to print money, causing more hyperinflation, which means more stuff is expensive, which reinforces the reason we got in this debt loop, super debt loop, and super debt cycle in the first place. Is the only a couple finite assets will go up. Pristine real estate, gold, silver, and Bitcoin, and a couple companies. And the problem is again, in the last 20 years, 80% of all the assets are owned by 1% of people. In the next 20 years, 99.9% of all the assets will be owned by the 1%. There will be nothing left for the regular person. There will be no middle class. There will be everyone will be poor or rich.
My head thinking in ways of like,
it's a fact. It's guaranteed. Tell me what every futuristic movie looks like. Is it Hunger Games, 99% poor, 1% rich? Is it Maze Runner, go in a fucking maze and then the only rich people live in a castle? Is it Divergent? You live in fashions and you're stuck in these different fashions and the rich people monitor you. Every movie is painting the picture. Elysium, the rich people live up in the solar system on this, and everyone's stuck on Earth. Every movie is painting, and Hollywood reinforces the narratives they want us to believe. They're priming us for 100 years of television and movies that the future is the rich and the poor. The poor are stuck on the Earth decaying from temperature controls and the fucking magnetic pole shifts and solar flares, and the rich people are up in this nice little Elon Musk fucking solar system. And so some version of that is happening and coming. Robots will take over everything. Drone warfare. A drone will fly around and scan our face if we're on the streets we shouldn't be on and arrest us, and a robot will show up. It's all autonomous. It's all communicating together as a web of drones and robots, all communicating together with AI. They'll know exactly where you are all the time. Everything will be controlled by the government. We're fucked. And so in the best way possible, though, you either have to be the rich or you're going to be the poor. There is only going to be two distinctions, rich or poor. Mm-hmm. And you have to make your decision. I think in the next 10 years, Raoul Paul talks about this. Peter Diamandis talks about this. Elon Musk talks about it, not quite as much because he's a really big public figure. So is Peter, though, and some of the other names. They all say you have 10 years to unfuck your future, 10 years to accumulate the assets that will go up, gold, silver, pristine real estate, and everything will be tokenized. So it's going to be really exciting, but it's also going to be really
disruptive. You don't want your health weaponized against you. Like, just like, hey, and like, if you don't get this vaccine, you actually jump to the top of the wait list for the next World War III, like, you know, or whatever else.
Bingo.
It is.
So I would have to renounce my citizenship and go to a country that doesn't do that. And as a rich person who has all my assets in a virtual digital world like Bitcoin, I can just say, fuck you. I can uproot, jump on a PJ and fly to a private island in the Caymans or Switzerland or wherever.
You want to be a global citizen with choices.
And I will already have multiple passports for my whole family. Ta-da, another benefit of being rich. And so now I'll have multiple passports and I'll have the ability to just fly anywhere and live there. And I already know, you can go look it up. There's different places where you can do this.
Are you Armageddon planning past that? Like, are you Elon to the Mars like type of like, I need actually bunkers on Mars type? Or you're
no, that's too extreme. I know I'm going to die and I'm going to go to heaven, and I look forward to that. I've watched enough near-death experience videos, especially after my mom passed. I watched a ton of near-death experience videos, people who died and got brought back to life, and all of them had very similar stories of heaven. And so I can't wait to go to heaven. I'm excited. If God wants to kill me,
go super in on someone else's
I just have a 3.5-year-old daughter, and I know how much children get messed up without fathers in their lives. And my wife, and I saw the pain that we all went through losing my mom, and so I don't want people on earth to still suffer, because the suffering is only on earth. It's not in heaven. And so I know that when I go to heaven, I'm free, but the people that love me are still suffering on earth. And so, so I'm excited to go to heaven. I'm fine if the world just implodes and people who are, going to go to heaven. And then at the same time, while I'm here, I'm excited to just watch what happens. I think some version of what I said is going to happen. Nobody knows, but there's a lot pointing to some.
You said it's a really logical second.
Ever since COVID happened, you cannot question what I said doesn't possibly happen. They locked the whole world down and forced vaccines. They already locked the whole world down and forced vaccine. Period. What I just said is not that crazy.
Before in human history, we've never had the ability to do that across the whole world.
And they're not going to give you free money without stipulations. And those stipulations are what they want them to be, which clearly is, for some reason, vaccinating everybody. And Bill Gates, by the way, says 1,000 times, you can go look it up and watch him say it on camera. There's 5 ways to slow down the population growth. One of them is vaccines.
Oh, so he's doing it out of his civil duty to keep humanity alive longer by making.
Yes, that evil man is figuring out that. By the way, what could that possibly mean? One of the top 5 ways to slow the population growth is vaccines. Just what could that mean?
He's playing God. He's playing the trolley game of, should I save more people over here by fearing the thing left, or should I kill?
But what could that mean? Slow the population growth through vaccines. What could that mean? Could that mean that it's either making you not fertile to have reproduction? Could it mean that it's killing us off? Either way, it has to mean one of those. And who's the number one funder of vaccines? Bill Gates. So he's funding the very thing that he knows will slow the population growth. I'll digress on that.
You think that he's doing it out of like an actual bigger conspiracy, or he thinks he's doing the world a service?
Well, on one side of the coin, you make a tremendous amount of money with vaccines. So the way that it works is if you can get one of your vaccines added to, so there was a law changed where there was only like 10 vaccines. And then they passed this law where if you got an approved vaccine, you got like $1 billion a year guaranteed for life if your vaccine made it on the list. Now, to make it on the list, you don't even have to pass any crazy regulations. You just have to be on the in. And so now, all of a sudden, since that law got passed, there's 72 mandated vaccines. And every one of those vaccines pays $1 billion a year guaranteed forever to the people who produced it. And so you have a very big incentive financially to get a vaccine approved. And I won't get into all this stuff around how they just expedite it without testing it because they are the guys. They're on the end. Imagine if you're a little fucking low-level A-grade scientist who approves this stuff, and I come to you and I either give you the carrot or the stick.
On the vaccine who just made it? Yeah.
I say, carrot or stick. Nick, do you want me to, here's your daughter at school.
Mm-hmm.
Do you want me to ruin your life and kill your family, or do you want to get paid a lot of money? Either way, we're getting this vaccine approved.
False double bind. Give me a third option, please.
Right. Okay, the third option is you get in a car accident on your drive home.
Dang, I'd be like, oh, so it's like that now, huh? And they're like, yeah. And there's nothing you can do about it.
And by the way,
and then movie plot.
Exactly. Yeah. And by the way, we've already tapped your phone, your house, and everything. So if you make a phone call, if you tell anybody about this, your whole family dies.
You shouldn't have taken at that point.
Or take a bunch of money, and be the guy who helped us approve this.
That sounds like, man, Hollywood should steal that concept. That would be fascinating.
There's a reason, though, that they can't make movies about that because they don't want that getting out, and they're all intertwined. All the people who run everything are all intertwined. The media is propaganda to hypnotize us. And again, I don't want to sound like a crazy person with this stuff, but like once COVID happened, there's all these memes that are like, every conspiracy came true. You know what I mean?
The whatever the 3-letter acronym for Fauci or whatever, they were basically doing influencer marketing campaigns. It just felt like it was like, this is internet marketing launch, but it's for vaccines.
Yeah. And this is what people don't understand. So it all ties into business. Your personal income in business or salary as a 9-to-5 employee will not outpace the rate of the money printer, which means the way that the government just injects capital into the market, which causes inflation. The more money there is in the market, the less valuable things, the less valuable things actually become. So therefore the price has to reflect in a weird way that makes sense, right? So all of a sudden imagine the Monopoly board, I just went and I grabbed a bunch of other Monopoly money from all the other board games. That was like, that's cheating. You can't just take money from other board games. And I brought all that money back over to our board game. You'd be like, dude, what the fuck? Where'd you get all that money from? So everything on the board would have to reflect in price.
Right.
There's more money on the table now.
100%.
Yeah. So my house doubled since COVID. My house that I live in right now doubled since COVID.
So you like fixed finite assets, thus BTC, thus real estate, thus like
gold,
things.
silver, things that have proof of work, things that require, things that people can't just print out of thin air. Now, granted, if the value of gold goes up, people are incentivized to dig it up. So there's not as much of a finite asset, but there's still proof of work. People want more beachfront property. They can literally make more beachfront property by, look at fucking Miami. Most of the beaches were made.
Dubai. Right.
Yeah.
And people
Dubai.
Right, like they can
mine. You can mine Bitcoin, but there's still a fixed cap of 21 million. Point is, be diversified in fixed hard assets: gold, silver, Bitcoin, and pristine real estate. Obviously, pristine real estate's more difficult because you have to buy a lot of it. You have to buy like a pristine real estate asset could be 10 million or it could be $1 billion. So it's very expensive until they tokenize it, which they're going to tokenize the world. So like you and I want a piece of a Manhattan Beach property. Somebody can tokenize their house and you and I can put $100 into their house. Just like you can buy $100 of Bitcoin or a penny of Bitcoin, you can buy $100 of a beachfront property. So if I want to sell my house, I don't have to go to a real estate agent and do this. I can just sell $500,000 of my house in the form of a token. Because guess what? My house fucking doubled in 5 years. My house would have been a good token to buy because it doubled in 5 years.
It would have been nice. Dude, I think we started talking about Josh Gavin and we got here and I have no idea how.
So Josh, so his family,
forget the question.
Yeah, so his family saw me on stage. His dad approached me and was like, meet my son. I talked to him. And then long story short, now he and I are business partners and a deal together where we have an education company, teach people how to do publishing because I taught him publishing. He went out and made millions of dollars as a young guy in his teenage and 20s.
I was so impressed with him. And the fact that
amazing. Great story. Great kid.
With Mark Leck, who's a publisher. So like for me, like
exactly.
If you're a publisher's publisher, that's like a bit of a,
and I care more about that because I'm financially set. So I care more. And I know Bitcoin's going to keep going up forever. And I already have enough Bitcoin that I'm going to be a billionaire if I do nothing. So I'm good. I just got to not be a total degen. I bought a Lamborghini recently, but like, I just need to not be a total degen.
Was it for your daughter or for you?
It's for both of us because she has a matching Lamborghini, a Lamborghini as well. But yeah, so nonetheless, I was like, sure, I'll partner with Josh and we're going to do over $1.2 million in our very first year together. Fantastic, phenomenal, amazing. Partnered up, launched a education company on teach people how to do publishing. The way that I said, don't go after big people, go after the person with like 100,000 to 1 million subscribers on YouTube or whatever. That's our sweet spot.
Is like 1 million subs ish on YouTube, high average watch time.
Exactly.
Would you think something different? Cool.
That's it. And then we have all the proposals, templates, and outreach. And so my point is if you can help one person building your personal brand, that becomes like a Josh Gavin where it was like, dude, this is some random person to now being like my like protege, friend, mentor relationship to now being a business partner where we're actually making great money together. And he told me, he's like, literally, bro, I've never made more money in my life than partnering with you. And I was like, well, that's what happens.
That's what I'm in it for. When people are like, what's the vision? To me, I just want to build the best team and collection of people that are like, God bless, learn from me. Like Max, who's on here with Team Prince, a few other people. Like if you are the next Josh Gavin and you're listening to this, either hit up me or Mark. Like I know we always like, I can never have enough of those types of people.
That's what I live for. That's why I love education and I'll always do education. Like I don't have any plugs or anything to make on here. Like, oh, tell people to go buy your course. I mean, sure.
Yeah, I've just been CTAing random things Mark doesn't have.
But I have a bunch of stuff, like, so I'm not on here like before where I'd be like, I have an upcoming launch or my main program that I exited the company from. So
Mark, how do we get signed up as affiliates for it?
Exactly. Yeah. So I have my publishing company. We're publishing billion-dollar corporations, wealth management firms, law firms. I have my software company, and we do enterprise clients. They usually pay us about $1.2 million a year. And then I have my education brand with Josh that we're doing. And so I've got 7-figure and 8-figure businesses. And like I'll probably never be able to sell my publishing company, but I'll be able to sell because it's like an agency, and agencies are harder to sell. But I'll be able to sell
your personal brand. So I think you probably could.
Yeah. So the way I've structured it is the businesses, here's how I've done it. The law firms and the wealth management firms pay incredible passive income. And so those will go into a holding company that'll collect passive income. And that passive income's recurring with a long recurring tail. I'll be able to sell that off. It'll be a book of business, like a life insurance book or any type of book of business that
more than advisory stage. Cause that's like,
exactly.
That's pretty much, you're inspiring me. Cause right now, like like for instance, WAP. I'm an advisor at WAP, so I'll take like these advisory equity shares that will get like, if things go right, I think it will for them, a mild payout at the end of the line. But you're getting a lot more leverage and potentially cash flow.
So the big difference is, and I love the model you're going after, and I've done that as well, and I still will occasionally. But what I've come to realize is that on a relative comparative basis, every one of those deals I did, I'll just conservatively say 9 out of 10 resulted in nothing yet. And some of them have been 5-year fucking holds. I'm in it for 5 years and I've got nothing.
Angel investing, because I was like, what am I doing? I'm not rich enough to be an investor. Yeah,
exactly. Yeah. So then I compared it. Every one of them, I compared it to Bitcoin. Not one of them has even gotten remotely, infinitesimally close to outperforming Bitcoin. Had I just said, you know what, instead of the equity, give me $20,000, $50,000, $100,000, and then I just put that in Bitcoin, and 5 years later it'd be $700,000, $800,000, and it's liquid. I can click a button and sell it. Where my stock is there, 8 million in stock. Can you sell it? Can you get a loan against it? Can you use it in any way ever outside of just talking about it like it's not even real? No, I can't. Okay, well then, if you could at least borrow against it or do something against it, I can, at any point I want, the company will buy it from me at a 50% discount. Okay, so you have $4 million in cash. Take the $4 million right now. But no, 99.9% of these deals, that money is on paper. It's monopoly. It's probably never going to have an exit, especially if they're trying to go for that $500 million valuation where you're never going to get your money out. And by the way, worst case scenario, it's in ClickFunnels and Russell turns down the $1 billion exit that you were promised to begin with.
Bro, I can just see people watching this episode and be like, you know what? I think I got what Mark's saying. I'm going to take out an SBA loan for a fictional LLC and invest the whole thing in Bitcoin.
Now, that would be smart. Now, that would be smart. That would be smart.
You would be over leveraged. And this is not financial advice.
This is not financial advice. But nonetheless, yes, I even took out a HELOC on my house, a home equity line of credit, because I have millions of dollars stuck in this fucking house.
So that is smart over leveraging, though, is HELOC, I would say.
Well, it wouldn't be over leveraged because it's a single digit percentage of my. You
have enough equity in your home. Yeah,
exactly. Much more. Yeah, they wouldn't let me. I wanted to be like, give me $2 million, bro, and they were like, no. They were like, we can't do that. They're like, max HELOC line of credit is usually around here. It's like $500,000.
5% down, take a HELOC out.
So here's the quick math. Let's just say hypothetically, I got a $500,000 line of credit, HELOC. I took all 500,000. I bought Bitcoin at 100,000, so I got 5 Bitcoin. The interest on my 500 grand is 7%. Locked in for 5 years with a variable change after that, and the variable change will be market rate. So I'm not like that just going to get tanked. In worst case, it's up or down a couple points. I don't care, by the way, because my Bitcoin's compounding at 60% a year. And at any point it goes 50, 40, 30, 20, 10. I'm still higher than the 7% I owe on the money. That's called financial risk arbitrage, if you want to call it that and get fancy. I'm taking the bank's money at a low rate that's fixed. I'm putting it in an asset that historically goes up 60% compounded per year. The 7% is 7%. And all I have to do is pay off. Here's the best part. If I pay the minimum payment on the interest only, no principal, I just pay the minimum interest. It's a couple $1,000 a month. In 20 years, the $500,000 will be like 1.5 million ballpark in 20 years. The five Bitcoin, here's the best part, bro. Michael Saylor and everybody else has Bitcoin tapering down from 60, 50, 40, 30, 20, and then staying at 20 for like the next 10, 15 years. Point is, he's got Bitcoin somewhere between 13 million and 20 million in 20 years. I have 5 of them just from the HELOC. So if it's 13 million, I have $65 million. Worst case, I owe 1.5 and I made 65 minus the 1.5. I took out 500,000. I owe the bank back 1.5 million in 20 years, which is about right. You know, 3 times what they gave me, I give them back. Hey, that's good for them, motherfucker. I made 65 million. Worst case on the Bitcoin minus the 1.5, I net $63.5 million. And here's the best part: I'll never need to sell it because I'll just take a 10% loan and get $6 million in cash. Use the $6 million in cash to f around with whatever I want.
Doesn't matter. The only threat, I'm trying to think of like one external threat to Bitcoin other than
the only threat in the world is a solar flare that fucking takes out the entire grid of everything: banks, credit cards, phones.
So no, like even if a new coin released today by me, like called Mark Coin, creates
and it had a fixed cap at 21 million. No,
you're right. Like, would it still, is Bitcoin at so past a tipping point where even a new market leader in the overall coin space?
Bitcoin got close to $3 trillion. You're talking, it's the 5th largest asset in the world
with still growth opportunity left. So that's
astronomical growth. It will be the number one, bro. It's going to. It's too big to fail. It's regulated and approved. It's in everybody's 401ks and pensions in the next 12 months. You can use it to get approved for mortgage, FHA loan, bank loan now for a house. Yep. All this positive stuff. FASB accounting. So, dude, it's game theory.
Like completely liquid asset, like cash would be.
All of this just happened. Like all this good shit just happened in the last 12 to 18 months. And so the next 10 years, everyone's saying is the gold rush. Here's what happened. Gold got approved in the form of an ETF, exchange traded fund. So you could buy stock gold. Instead of buying physical gold, you could buy an ETF.
Yeah, at that point, I'd rather buy Bitcoin. Yeah.
But here's the best part. When the ETF of gold got approved, it basically only went up for 10 years. Only went up for 10 years with little tiny 10 or 15% pullbacks. But when you zoom out 10 years, just straight fucking whoop for 10 years. That's what everyone's saying is going to happen to Bitcoin is for the next 10 years with 10, 15, 20% pullbacks, drawdowns that shake out leverage because people put leverage. If it only goes up for 10 years, you just take out a 40x leverage per perpetual options. And all of a sudden, woo, you just go to become a billionaire overnight.
People running like high arbitrage like that.
I do, but most of them get wiped out because what happens is until the market structure bill gets passed in September next month, right now it's legal to do wash trading, which means you can buy and sell in the same millisecond. I can sell and buy, and at the same time, they can go and Binance and Coinbase, and they'll send their stuff to a company called Wintermute in the like jurisdiction of fucking Thailand or the Philippines or Cayman Islands, and they have different jurisdictions there. And then they'll shake out the market. They can see where all the leverage is. So I have a 40x. I think Bitcoin's going to go up. I put a 40x leverage. I have $1 million, but it's $40 million. But if Bitcoin goes down 2%, I lose all my million. And if it goes up, I get buku rich. They don't want me to get buku rich, so they fucking shake the market down 3%, 5%. I lose all my money, and then they rip the market back up, and they take out all the shorts because as the market's going down, people are like, short the market, and then they short the market with leverage, and then the market makers see that, and then they go, I don't think so, buddy. And then they shoot the market back up, and then the shorts get liquidated. And then you go, we're going back up, take out a long position. And then you take out a long position, and then they go, I don't think so, buddy. So the only people who win are the people like me who buy and hold. I'm up 1,300% on my investment. I turned millions into tens of millions in the last 5 years, and I'm going to turn those tens of millions, because I'm not selling, into hundreds of millions, and then into billions. And so we could do this episode every 5 years, and I will be astronomically more wealthy doing nothing but letting my money convert into Bitcoin and letting my Bitcoin continue to go up for the next 10 to 20 years at a blended average of 30-40% CAGR, which will put Bitcoin at about 13 million to 20 million per coin. It's an asymmetrical bet. If I'm right, I'm a billionaire. If I'm wrong, I work for the rest of my life like everybody else. So
yeah, right. So you're chilling.
And I'm young enough, and I have enough earning potential, and I still have other companies. Like I have some business deals that are going on right now, and I'm going to exit. I'm going to do lots of these little $5 million exits and $10 million exits. I'm going to have a couple big deals going on with my publishing company that I think I'll make a tremendous amount of money, tens of millions of dollars in the next couple of years in fiat, and then I'll just dump that into Bitcoin and continue to grow my bag. Yeah, it's just
when you're talking to enterprise companies, because I'll probably be there in 3 to 5 years after I realize that my current model I want more out of. Remember me, bring me in as a growth advisor on some of these so I can understand.
Yeah, bro. Yeah, dude. Because that's what I like to do. I don't like to be stuck in the day-to-day operations, because then you're not nimble to move into new opportunities when they arise, and then your feet are stuck in the sand because you're like, I have a company with employees and I can't just dip on them because this is sexier. And sometimes shiny object syndrome. Sometimes jumping to the next thing is either the best thing you could do, like when Apple went from computers to iPhones and music. That was the best pivot ever. That literally changed the game for Apple, was going from being a computer company and competing against Microsoft to becoming a phone company with iPhone. That literally, the iPad, the iPhone, the iPod, that is what made Apple separate themselves from Microsoft. So sometimes pivoting is your secret weapon, but also pivoting and shiny object syndrome and squirrel syndrome is what kills entrepreneurs.
I need some shoulder pivots like at Jason. I can't go up to the all hands in front of 200 people here and be like, hey guys, we're going to be a BTC hedge fund now. Like screw on.
Exactly.
Right. So that would be, that would probably lead to a bunch of people looking for new jobs.
Exactly. So that's where the dichotomy of so it's like the same advice is either going to be the best thing or the worst thing. And that's the hard part about being an entrepreneur is it's like somebody will give you advice and it's like that could be the best or the worst thing. You should pivot. Like I sold my company and I pivoted from just being an internet marketer to getting into SaaS and publishing and investing. And that was the best thing I could have ever done in my life, was make that pivot.
Dude, and the best thing that I could have done in my life is honestly learning from people. That's why I'm inviting people who are at what I would consider a stage ahead of me, or maybe similar stage, but I have something to learn from them. Like, and that's what I think of you, is just like, you're good at making simple, smart decisions across your career. And I've never seen you, like, you do work hard. You work really hard, probably harder than you would give yourself credit for, but not like Hormozy level, like for instance.
No. And I never would pride myself on that, bro. My secret, and I appreciate you for saying that, is input output. I'm always looking for a disproportionate asymmetrical return where I can put in, let's just make up some fucking metric. I put in this much, but I get back this much.
Correct.
And so most people put in 40 hours a week and they get the exact same paycheck. So their input is 40 hours because they get paid for their time. I get paid for results. I never get paid for my time. Well, unless I do hourly consulting, which is rare. But most people put in 40 hours and they get back a paycheck, and they're stuck. Their input output is fixed. Unless you become a salesperson, then your input output can change into your favor, which is why I got into sales, because I understood this input output ratio quickly. Now in my life, I'm looking for, I put in $1 million in Bitcoin, and if I'm right and it does a 200x, I get $200 million fucking dollars. And by the way, I have a lot more than $1 million in it. So
next time we hang out, I'm going to try to find a better asymmetric thing. I'll be like, Mark, when we go to Vegas, I don't gamble. I've never gambled in Vegas.
I love gambling.
Well, you love to gamble, but what I like more is gambling with something I have more control over. Anytime someone's like, let's go play roulette in Vegas, I'm like, how about we go back to my hotel room? You give me $10,000 on Facebook ads, and I bet we'll have a better result. I bet it'll roll out 4x instead of 1% or whatever. 50%.
And then you got to find something where your input output happens automatically. So Bitcoin, I only have to put in once, and then it continues to output a 60% CAGR. And so that's where I started to realize,
because then your mind's not there either.
So now I have enough Bitcoin that at 60, 50, 40, 30, 20, 10% CAGR, my Bitcoin every year is going up, and therefore making me more money than I make myself. So let's just say I'm a badass and I make $2.5 million a year working hard, whatever that means, right? I make $2.5 million a year. That's like Mark Lack's personal salary take home. I make $200,000 a month, 2.5 million a year. We'll round up from 2.4. And my Bitcoin makes me 7 million a year. And it's almost kind of like, why the fuck am I working?
Or time value money is insane different.
And the input of the to make the 2.5 was an entire fucking calendar year, where the 7 million on the Bitcoin was nada, zilch. I didn't have to do anything.
Yeah, the rice score would be astronomical.
But here's the thing, it keeps compounding. So in 10 years, I'm making $60 million a year on my Bitcoin appreciation.
Yep.
So that's where you're like, okay, that bet is worth it, dude.
Do you feel like that's the reason why you do content too? Of like, even why we're doing this instead of you maybe putting more money or working active income into Bitcoin, is just like, what do you think of content leverage or content compounding over time? Do you think it will?
I was the personal branding guy, I think, before anybody else. I started 13 years ago preaching personal branding and selling courses on it. Bro, that was like when social media got started.
Dude, I forgot how like much easier it makes life when I'm making content. I've just had like more opportunities, more people are reaching out.
I just try to tell people, you already have a personal brand. The difference is, are you putting any attention and awareness and strategy behind it, or are you just letting it flounder and you're just that fucking guy at Chipotle that smokes weed? That's your brand. That's your brand.
For 5 years, I was doing the most badass ads trainings to like 1 or 2 people in a Zoom room on my team instead of like online. So
and now you could have just made a YouTube channel sharing those sharing those recordings, and it'll take off.
Anyway, it wasn't like I was trying to get a secret moat. So
here's the thing: trying to become a famous person sucks. It's an endless battle where if you finally do make it, you have to be a dancing hooker to stay there. And so that's what I said is like, you'll look at these guys and you're like, I haven't seen Gary Vaynerchuk in years, bro. I don't even like.
Dude, I feel like you run out of things to say, or you go crazy.
That's why everybody usually has, this is my experience, everybody usually has a 2-year to 4-year window where they're on top. Hormozy's clearly the guy right now, but like I guarantee in 2 years, 3 years, everyone will be like, oh yeah, that guy's still killing it, but like I don't give a shit.
Yeah, people will be like, if Hormozy says one more time to like focus and work harder.
Exactly. And then it almost becomes like kryptonite, where you're like, dude, now everybody hates your sayings that they loved before. If I hear Gary Vaynerchuk say this one more freaking time, or Grant Cardone or whoever.
No, like Rob still, man. Good Mark.
Exactly. So in the beginning, you're like, oh, or Andy Elliott, 6-pack abs or nothing. It's like, dude, Andy's already falling off. Andy Elliott, like, You know,
Yeah,
like
I would probably say still maybe from a personal brand standpoint, but revenue and your business lags behind the personal brand too.
For sure. Oh, always. There's a big lag. But my thing is like, you should, like, I've tapered my personal brand down a lot. Part of it is just because, like, I know I'm going to be a billionaire. And like, I'll always be doing something for my brand, but like the security risk of like my family, like I'm not posting my children on social media anymore. The security risk of people being like,
but that makes sense. Yeah.
Yeah. The security risk. You know, I have a CCW, so I walk around with a gun on me. And
that makes sense. Like these days I could screenshot your IG story, throw it into an AI tool and be like, where is this location? Give me the exact address.
Exactly. Yeah. So that's why I've got a CCW in my office. I have a gun in my bedroom. I have a gun. I have guns all over my house. They're all in finger scanners. So you scan your finger like John Wick and it goes boom and the gun pops out. So I have guns.
Breaking Mark Black's home at any time.
No, and all my doors have like full lock bolts. So the only way to come in would be a SWAT team smasher, or somehow you like use like a laser.
Did you have a weird experience in person where you felt uneasy, or you just gradually? No.
Yeah, just my brother and I and like family members, like we're just big into, again, when you're big into self responsibility and sovereignty, I'm not counting on the police being there for me. I'm not counting on somebody being there to save me. And so self-sovereign, right? Like I don't need the government handouts. I don't need a job. I have my own Bitcoin. I create my own businesses. I create my own investments. I'm not invested in the system with the 401k and the S&P 500. I'm not feeding into that. I'm self-sovereign. I have my own precious metals, my own Bitcoin. I have my own shit. I can go anywhere in the world and people will accept my Bitcoin, my gold, my silver. Maybe the US dollar won't be in the future, but they'll accept my hard assets.
You still have your freedom to movement without like me like tapping you on the shoulder in Dubai and be like, Mark Black, like it's you. I'm sure you get that a little bit, but not enough.
I've had that a couple times in my life where I'm like in Big Bear snowboarding and a guy comes up to me and I'm like, oh, it's cool. But like now I have a daughter. And so like, I'm always thinking
the year and it's nice, but if it's nice 20 times a year, I don't think I'd maybe love it.
But to me, it's no different than just social media. Like you and I can vibe like this and I can talk to a stranger like this or to Josh Gavin like this or to somebody I met on social or go live and just do Q&A. I love teaching. I love training. I love answering questions for people and seeing how my insight can help them because that's how I got to where I'm at. These books behind me, mentors, coaches, programs, I invested in all of that, dude, because that's where I got to where I'm at. And now I'm spending a lot less time educating myself on business and stuff like that. There's a metaphor or not a metaphor, affirmations I listen to and read. And one of them is, I already know everything I need to know to achieve the life that I want and the wealth that I deserve. And so,
how long are your affirmations that you would read every day?
So they're short. They're short. So what I usually do, I don't have it on me right now because my cleaners were here earlier. So my shit got moved. I keep it under my mouse pad. So like it's a full sheet of paper. And it's just a sheet of paper and it just has affirmations on it. And my goals on the back. And so right here, I'm always sitting at my desk. So at some point when we hang up, I might have a 5-minute window. I pull the sheet of paper out and I'll just read it. And I try to feel it. And I'm definitely not perfect. I go months without doing this shit, by the way. But then I'll get back into it.
I need, because no one's too big for imposter syndrome or anything else.
Exactly. The one thing that's always true is the frequency and energy of your thoughts become your reality. And so I just always try to remind myself of that. Like, dude, I manifested, if I'm the only main character in this game, right? Because you don't know, right? Oh, we try to remove our ego, but like, what if this is all an illusion and I'm the only main character here and everybody else is an NPC? And it's like, I manifest everything in my fucking life. And I manifested Bitcoin over 100 grand, just like all the other Bitcoiners did. And I'm manifesting that shit's going to 1 million and then 10 million. And it's going to happen. Like so many things in my life I can't control. But one thing I can do my best is control the frequency of the energy of my thoughts. And like for me, a big one, like was my mom passing. I put all the energy I could into her living and it didn't work. So I was like, God, that crushed me. But then I reframed it and I was like, whoa, my mom's in heaven. She's in a better place. That energy up there is incredible. I can't wait to get there. And while I'm on earth, I'm still trying to figure out the lessons of that, of why I only got so much time. But you can focus on negative things and be like, my mom got taken from me. God's not real. The universe sucks. I did everything I could, law of attraction, to manifest her living and it didn't work.
Like,
why could that?
Life, like, and if God controls, like,
so that to me, that was like the easiest thing ever for me to give myself a reason to be like, God's not real and manifestation and law of attraction doesn't work. I've done it in so many other areas, but that was the worst.
Suicidal. Yeah,
exactly. So for me, I was like, dude, trust me, I know it doesn't work 100% of the time. That's like the most extreme example I can give that crushes you and makes you not even want to ever do it again because you're like, it clearly doesn't fucking work. But at the same time, the energy and the frequency and like learning, life is so simple. You get to decide what things mean. I'm going to say that again. Life is simple. You get to decide what things mean. The problem is propaganda and stuff tries to convince us, be a weak person. Like, they're not saying to be a weak person. They're trying to convince you that somebody else should tell you how to think. Somebody else should tell you what to inject in your body. Somebody else should tell you what to eat. Somebody else should tell you everything. And somebody else should give you money. And so the problem is that they're trying to give you a meaning, right? They're trying to tell us things. They're trying to control what the world means to us. This is bad. That's why I hated school and rebelled against it naturally, inherently. I knew they're telling you what's good and what's bad. A failure is a bad thing. But in life, we all know the most successful people fail the most. And so everyone, Michael Jordan, the reason I'm the best is because I failed more. Everyone in business, the reason Jeff Bezos has these famous quotes where he's like, if there's a 10% chance of 100x return, take it every time. That's Bitcoin. If there's a 10% chance of 100x return, take it every time. Jeff Bezos says, take the risk, because even if you're wrong 9 out of 10 times, you get that 1 out of 10 right, you got 100x return. You just fucking got 100x return and you lost 10 of them, but you got 1 right. You're still profitable. And so there's so many different ways you could look at this, but that's like one of the biggest lessons is you control what things mean. So you damn well better figure out how to make it positive. So I've done my best to try to come up with positive reasons for why I lost one of the most important people in my life. And that's a damn hard exercise. That is a hard exercise. It's easy to do if we're sitting here being like, try to figure out why it's okay the economy's crashing or your business didn't go through or you didn't get that promotion. Yeah. Okay. But when you lose one of your top loved people on this planet, that's where coming up with a positive meaning is hard. You immediately want to reject it and say, fuck you for even trying to make me think something positive. But then later you're like, wow, my life's going to continue to be miserable if I put negativity around this.
You have, if you don't mind me asking, when your mom died, shame, guilt, fear, anger, like which one?
All of them okay. at different stages. Cause you start to tell yourself all these stories and what if I did that? And did she know that she was going to die and she didn't tell me? Cause she, like all these things, right? It's like, and then you're like, there's just so many, bro. You feel all of them. It's like,
you feel all of them. Yeah. Like
at different stages.
I've never pulled this off my wall before. I use it for marketing, but the feeling wheel, like anytime that you're over, there's a negative spectrum on this one and there's a positive. And what Mark is saying, which I agree, super important. He repeated it 3 times now, is that happy and sad. That's like why I love this. Feel very similar in your head. It's just the meaning that you give them. So like when I think as a marketer, like I'm trying to, if we like, when me and Mark were like fear mongering a little bit, what I would call it about the world, and we're doing that in order to maybe sell a product, which is what marketers do. I'm trying eventually to bring someone from fear on this, which is the blue spectrum, from afraid to trusting that the world is going to be okay. And to me, that's like my gray area marketing of like ethics and definition. People be like, that's like scummy, or like what you do is a scam or like whatever else. I'm like, no, I'm trying to bring someone from a negative emotional state to a positive emotional state. And do like your story with your mom, or the reason why I keep a note on my computer from a dumb Lamborghini ad that I wrote for Cody Sperber 10 years ago that stopped someone from committing suicide. He like saw it in newsfeed ad, and I just had this response on there, and I'm like, dang, the dumb stuff that I do that I thought was dumb, getting jaded, actually matters. I was like, I still don't know how, but he was scrolling his feed, thinking about he was going to look at pictures of his kids before he killed himself, is what he said in the note. And then he saw my feed and got inspired by that ad, delayed the decision, and then never went back. Dang. And I was like, holy crap, I bet that happens to like you, bro.
Right. I've had messages before and you're like, that's why I put content out. I get a 10 times disproportionate amount of hate, but when I get the love, you're like, that's why I do it. That's why I do it. I want to try to help those people.
The hate is just like, it's, I think 5-to-1 ratio, the Tony Robbins ratio that he always talks about, is like, you need 5 compliments for every 1 negative thing. So if I say like, Mark, you're an idiot, I need to be like, if I want to repair our relationship, Mark, you're so smart. Mark, I loved what you did there. Right. And like that ratio is powerful. So I think about it in my marriage. I think about it with business partners. Like if I'm ever too harsh with someone, I'm like, that's now a relational debt that I need to build them back up, because hate's strong.
Yeah, dude. It's a powerful thing. Being able to control what things mean is probably one of the top things that people should be focused more on in their life. Is like, it's so easy, because if somebody cuts you off, you're like, I do the same thing. I'll be like, oh, fuck you. And I'm in my Lamborghini. I'll be like, and I'll like zoom by him. But then I'll look back and I'll be like, I'm not in a rush. I'm not in a hurry. My animal reaction is to go reptilian brain and to be like, fight, like, but then Then I step back and it's like, yeah. And I'm like, okay, I don't need to risk getting a ticket, risk getting in an accident, like that was stupid of me. And I try to remind myself. So I'm a human. I make mistakes all the time, and my body has natural reactions, and I have 1,400 testosterone. So I'm always lit.
Bro.
And so I try to just remind myself of these important principles.
How old are you?
35.
Maybe I'll have back. We'll end here for now, but coming back, I'm like, in being involved in the Bilzerian project, that was his first recommendation to me. He's like, go get your testosterone checked. You're 34
For sure.
years old.
Game changer, bro. Game changer. Game changer. I take clomiphene, and clomiphene will tell your pineal gland to your testes to stimulate as much testosterone as your body will naturally produce. TRT is replacement therapy.
Yeah, so, and TRT, like, I don't want to be addicted to TRT.
I took all the supplements, Turkish whatever, and Tungat Ally, and all these things, and I'm saying them wrong, I know, but they're like,
start there, safer, and
it's like ashwagandha, and it's like they're basically like Indian roots and other things and blends and mushrooms that are supposed to naturally do it. Bro, it didn't do jack.
Didn't do anything.
It didn't do jack. So then I did like
stuff, the stuff that's like highly effective, but
then I did like HCG, which you had to inject, and HCG was like, okay, my testosterone went up like 200 points, but it didn't. I felt great for a week, and then after that, I was like, meh. And then,
but are you trying to optimize towards maximizing your T count though, or just
no? I'm trying to maximize for just optimal feeling and performance. I get my blood labs every 90 days. I don't eat seed oils. I eat super clean. I eat whole foods. I track my macros. So for anybody out there who's like 1,400 is too high, okay, you want to go? Yeah, but like, I would just say, let me ask you, do you track your macros every day? Do you walk 10,000 steps every day? Do you lift weights 4 days a week? Do you stretch every day? Do you go to, physical therapy and chiropractors and stretch and get professional work done on your body? Do you get your labs done every day? Do you eat only whole foods? Do you cut complete seed oils out of your life? Is every single product in your house a non-toxic product and verified non-toxic? Not like, oh, I think it is. Verified are all your candles in your house beeswax only because they're releasing toxins? If they're not, is your cologne and deodorant non-toxic? Is your toothbrush made of microplastics? See, you ain't got shit if you're not doing everything I just said, which is what my wife and I do. You're not even remotely close to being able to tell me if my 1,400 testosterone is too high. So again, a lot of people, like a fat person, would be like, oh, it's too high. It's like, okay, but I just listed off like 45 things that you need to do to even remotely get close to my level of like health. And I'm far from being healthy compared to like Brian Johnson. And by the way, I'm fine if I die in the next day because I want to go to heaven and see my mom. And I have so much money left here for the people I love, and a will and a trust and an integrated structure and everything to take care of them for life. Like, I've already set it up so if I die, my family's set. And I'm 35. I've got my integrated structure, my payouts, distributions, liquidity, exits, tie-ups for my daughter and my wife. Bro, everything is set. I'm ready to die. If I have to go to heaven now, great. Heaven's better than earth. So I'm ready. It's like...
All right. Everyone who's reading this, comment below if you think Mark's testosterone is too high. And
I drink energy drinks. That's my one bad thing. That would be I wouldn't say my one bad thing. I'm probably bad in other areas, but like, that's my one big thing is like, I still have energy drinks. Because back in the day when I was a professional paintballer, I was sponsored by energy drinks. I got addicted to them, and I'm hooked.
Blood pressure might be a little bit higher than normal, but that's okay.
It's not. My blood pressure is amazing.
Yeah.
Get your vitamin D3 levels checked. Vitamin D3, most people are they're insufficient in. Our body can't synthesize.
I did my blood work for the first time in like 3-5 years last year. I was vitamin D deficient despite being in Arizona and the sun like all the time. It was weird. Didn't understand.
A big one that most people don't talk about is your electron transport chain, ETC, electron transport chain. And it's basically everything. So you need to take NAC, you need to take NMN, and that'll help the precursor to NAD. You can even take NAD if you want, but you should take NAC and NMN to help those levels get up.
What's NAD even about? Someone told me to buy it. I'm
going to say like Bitcoin is digital gold. NAD is helping your mitochondria, which is like every cell in your body, thrive and maximize to its fullest potential. It feels
working.
Yeah. So I've injected NAD, and I've also taken the sublingual version you can get from Row Nutrition, and you can squeeze it in a bottle and drink it. And you can feel it, bro. Oh yeah, and nasal spray. There's like C-Max and other options out there.
Figure out though if it was a placebo or not. Like I definitely feel the physical sensations of it.
You can. Well, the nasal spray is different for sure. You'll feel that, and the injection, you're like, whoo! It feels like an ice bath. Where the sublingual squirt one you put in a bottle and drink, you feel it more like you would a coffee or an energy drink or a shot of espresso.
All right, cool. I'm gonna get that too. Where do you think then for testosterone? I lost what your recommendation would be for me.
It's called enclomiphene.
Okay, cool.
You're around my age, so enclomiphene's a good starting ground. Very, very minimal side effects. Like it's like stupid things. Like you might get a little bit of a headache. You might have a little irritation of the skin. And by the way, if you do, it lasts for 24 hours. It lasts for the first 24 hours to 48 hours. And then after that, you just feel like Hulk.
Yeah, bro. I'm an entrepreneur. I've had major headaches and side effects from just this life. So minor ones don't stress me out much.
You want to get up. The number doesn't matter as much as the feelings. So if you basically like you could have 600 testosterone and be chilling if all your symptoms are good. The symptoms that you don't want, and you don't have to nod your head or agree with any of these, by the way. But if you want to have a better libido, if you want to have more energy sustained throughout the day, if you want to have better sleep, if you want to have more motivation, if you want to have more strength, if you want to have more drive, all of those things. Yeah. Right. These all sound fucking great. Like these are like the root cause of all men versus boys and fucking soy boys. It's like and by the way, you're going to lose fat. You're going to gain muscle naturally. And if you work out and eat healthy, clean food, you're going to get even more jacked. Like you're going to get fucking like strong. Like that's what you want to get strong. You want to get masculine. You want to be driven. You want to be motivated. At any point, you wake me up at 2 a.m. I'm like, I'm ready to go. But I can be chill and I can be calm. But like I'm ready. Like fucking Dragon Ball Z Super Saiyan. Like I just came from the gym. Yeah. At any point, I'm ready to go Super Saiyan 3. Super Saiyan 3. At any point, it's there. It's like underneath me, and I just have to go. And just,
bro, I think we have a health offer now too. You're like, this all sounds
here's
great.
What we'll do. We'll make a couple 7-figure offers and then we'll flip them. Yeah. We'll sell them.
Yeah. We'll do first a war-ending, fear-mongering survival layer prep kit, the libido maximizer, testosterone offer. Yep. And then if someone says 1,400's too high, I'd be like, bro, that's what I thought too. And then I got there and I realized it's not too low.
Yes,
man. Dude, thank you for coming on. I think we probably went over. My team's sitting here. I think I might be late for something, but I had a super good time. Good, let's do it again.
Same, man. Cheers, appreciate you. See you guys.
Dude, I'm new to this, so